Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Get More Students podcast. I'm your co-host, Alex Asher.
And I'm Herbert Gerzer, founder of...
Sorry, we got out of control. You're waiting for my CEO of LinkedIn. Yeah. No, let's do it again. 3. Hi, and welcome to an episode of the Get More Students podcast. I'm your co-host, Alex Asher, CEO of LearnCube.
And I'm Herbert Gerzer, founder of Learn Media.
Today we have a special topic and a special guest. But the theme really since the start of the year has been ChatGPT. It has absolutely put the world on fire. I looked the other day, by the way, Herbert. It got to 100 million users in like 2 or 3 months compared to like TikTok, which had broken all the records. Like 8 or 9 months. It's like insane how quickly this thing has flooded the world. And so everyone is right in on wanting to know about it. In fact, we had a previous episode about this, Herbert, talking about it from a language education perspective and how this could impact things. But now we've got a very practical reason to talk about it, and we have a guest to talk through this. And this is what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be about 5 proven ChatGPT prompts for social media success. And really what we're going to be talking about is social media, how we can use ChatGPT, particularly for language school marketing. And for that, we have Gina Rodriguez with us as our guest. She is an expert ELT marketing consultant and also the founder of GR School Marketing. Gina, thanks so much for joining us.
Welcome, Gina.
Hello. Thanks. Thank you for inviting me, Alex and Herbert. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Now this is obviously a pretty exciting topic. You must have, I think you've really been playing around with the tool yourself.
Yeah.
First of all, what's been your experience as a marketer?
Well, I mean, the first time I saw it, it was back in December, and I was shocked and fascinated at the same time because of what it could do. And I came across it because a friend sent me a message with an article, and he wrote, "Are you afraid of it?" And I went immediately to check. I just couldn't believe it. And then also I realized that the same tool was embedded in the iDocs of Canva. So I played with both a lot, looking at it, from an educational point of view and the impact it will have. And also trying to see how it could, help me in what I do. So social media marketing, so like writing posts or blogs and emails. And so I try I tested it. Also tested it in I tried to challenge it, kind of refining the topic, like becoming more and more niche. And yes, I mean, it's got some limitations, and they actually say that. But I mean, generally speaking, it's mind-blowing, and it's another tool that we need to learn how to use. Because obviously, if you check on social media, and some people are kind of, oh, this is going to be the end of humanity, or this is the da da da. Yeah. Personally, I believe it's another tool, and I personally compare it to a knife.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. You can use it to make delicious meals, but also, you can stab someone if you want. So, and I think it's the same. So, but I mean, you cannot deny it, and it's there, it's coming, it's already here actually.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna get better because this version is the better version. So so I've been trying it and trying to see what how you can use it. Of course, you don't want to look and sound like everyone else. And so there are some tricks, of course, but it can be a good collaborator, let's say.
Right. I'm going to bring up a bit of some of the points that you have, and in fact, they're going to be coming out in a blog that Gina is going to be writing. So make sure you look out for her blog post on this particular subject. Yeah. But one of the key things that I've been able to have a quick preview of that blog was just how ChatGPT is not a strategy, and how the strategy doesn't change, and in fact, it's just as important, if not more important. So tell me, again, what do people need to get right for social media success in general?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, as you know, it's very often, when busy language school owners, and they will go like, give me ideas. I need ideas for this and need ideas for that. And probably if you go and type ideas for da da da, ChatGPT will give you ideas, but that's not going to get you too far. I mean, it's going to help you to do posting, but not to do social media marketing, because what you need is a strategy, and a strategy means that you will have objectives for your own language school, generally speaking, and you will have objectives for your marketing and for your social media marketing, and align that with think of the courses that you will offer, and to be able to attract or get students closer to you, you have to have an understanding where you are. And it's all part of the analysis you do for your strategy, right? So what you need, how you're going to get there, and if there's anything missing to, for you to achieve that goal. So it's all part of that. And then social media is about building a relationship. It's about attracting students also through content. So what content? And to choose that, you need to do to analyze your potential students. And so all of that is in a strategy. Only once you have that clear, then you will have better results, from prompting your ChatGPT, because it's one thing to say, give me ideas for language school, social media, and it's another thing to say specifically what you need. For example, write a post for a course for adults of this age, and to convince them to study with us, for example. That will give different results, and it will be more in line with what you need to get from social media. I don't know if that
what are some
kind
examples
of answered the question.
No, you have. I think what I'm kind of curious as well is like what certainly even myself, what are the kind of main objectives of social media? You sort of mentioned about building relationships and engagement. What would good goals look like?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. We're talking about organic social media, which is what I do the most. So, for instance, so obviously you want to attract those students, and the competition is so fierce out there. And so how are they going to choose you based on what? So they need to get to know you. They need to like, how you work. They need to trust you, that they will actually get results, and they're not just going to spend time with you, but not improving, right? So, for instance, that's one of the goals. Okay, so it's creating brand awareness. So helping the world, or wherever you are, not actually the world, it could be your own town, know about you, but in a meaningful way that really attracts students. And then there's another stage in which you want them to convince, but obviously that will be part of, again, a strategy. So combined with email marketing or other marketing activities that you have. Building relationship, yeah, because for instance, like just the other day I saw this school, they have a new Instagram page, and they were already trying to sell courses like buy my course, and it almost looks like a notice board, and social media is not for that, is it? So you're not gonna sell anything to a cold audience. So that's why building relationship with your followers and letting them get to know you is so important. But you also have to analyze, when you do the strategy, what is that is important for them to know to make that decision to work with you, right? So and then obviously one of the most important objectives is to get contacts, right? So email, so get people to sign up for a demo lesson, or make an inquiry about a course, because then that will generate another process, get DMs and so on. Yeah.
I think that was really useful context, and again, kind of showed the art of making social media work for you. Particularly, I think the things that I sort of took away from what you said there is how social media is about attracting the right people and helping people through exposure to you through social media move themselves towards maybe a buying decision or some kind of further engagement, that you've built trust through social media posts. And so then you're kind of talking about consistency in a number of things, and it makes it even more obvious your kind of initial point, which is how ChatGPT is a tool. It can't do that. It can't do that for you. It's not a panacea. So tell us about the stages then, that you kind of consider, and then which stages you use ChatGPT.
Yeah, right. So once you have your, for example, your content pillars, your strategy, when you know where you need to go and what you need to do, then you will start planning your content, right? So what you're going to say, when, and so on, which platforms. That's also very important, because depending on the platform, you will have a different way of expressing yourself in the copy as well. At that point, when you're ready to start writing the post, the copy of the post, that's when you can get help from ChatGPT. And one way is probably you have it and you want ChatGPT to make it more compelling and improve it. Or maybe you have something that you want to repurpose, for example, and then again, it can do it for you. It could be that you have a copy which is made by a hook, the body, and a call to action, but you are not happy with one of the 3 bits. Okay, so you say, okay, or you want to adapt, you like the main idea, but you want to adapt it for a different type of course that you're offering, for example. So that's the stage that you will start getting help from ChatGPT. But you need to, once it's and actually they also advise this in their blog, right? They've got a blog and they say, never take what we give you as it is and paste it, because it lacks, they recognize that it lacks context, which is true, and that it needs to have more of your personal touch or tone of voice, let's say. And yeah, I think that's the stage when you you would start using it.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So from what you've told me, it's particularly helpful for components, not necessarily relying on it word for word and right from point zero of creating a strategy. You kind of need to be the driver still, or the artist, so to say, the editor. In this particular
because exactly, you need that, you absolutely need that. I think when you are working on your own, and I would imagine, and now maybe a director study that needs to also the social media, or maybe a language school owner, or a teacher, they can get help from ChatGPT, provided they can get into ChatGPT when they need, because it's not always possible. However, they've just launched this. They have to launch a paid access from when they are at full capacity. Now, if you pay,
I think they're just going to keep on turning up the temperature.
Absolutely,
I feel like one of those little mice in the cage, that they're just turning up the temperature when I'm really wanting to use it, just make me want it. But to be fair, I think to the credit of these tools, if they are offering value, fair play.
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah. And also, I mean, we are talking about ChatGPT, but as I said, Canva has it it's called Magic Write, and it works exactly the same way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We're going to go into maybe some use cases of using ChatGPT, and then particularly you've got some prompts that have given you success, and I think we kind of discuss first of all how to use it and when, and then how to write a good prompt. The first one you sort of had as a context was to write a Facebook post. Would you often use it straight from scratch, or would you Yeah, like, is there any context you need to give it, or you go straight into new chat and then you go, boom, let's put in this prompt?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, if you have something ready that you want it to improve, or maybe have a different version, that's one way. Or if you have a writer's block,
Yeah.
no, no inspiration that day, you can start from scratch, and and kind of warm up a bit, and then say, yeah, I like this, I don't like that, and then ask it again to refine it. I think prompting it is the most important part, and also prompt engineers, just to give you know how important it is, because the result of the quality of what you get is, corresponds to the quality of your input. So the more precise and detailed that you are, the better.
You've actually got an example for us here, and Gina, since it's your prompt, maybe it comes better from your words. But do you want to read out the post, the prompt that you use for writing a Facebook post for us?
Yeah, like the Facebook post, I was testing it, and I wrote one that was too generic, like write a Facebook post for a course for adults in the evening, I think it was. I asked it to do it in Italian, and it did, and it was too long. It was discriminatory because it was talking about native speakers, teachers. It didn't even know what course it was because I didn't put it. So it kind of invented a lot of information. So I thought, hang on a minute, let me get more kind of specific. And then I thought about it, and what I got was, I put, write a copy for a Facebook post of 250 characters highlighting the benefits of learning English after your 40s, aimed at workers in the tourist industry.
Wow, very
Be
specific.
friendly and start the copy with a question.
Nice. So in that, you're kind of telling what kind of post, you're saying how long you want it, you're really putting attention on what you want it to focus on, you're focusing on the market, and then you're also talking about the tone, all in that one prompt.
Yeah.
What I've seen people do, and maybe you do the same, June, is you kind of have like almost I'm sure someone has already built this, but there'll be like a little snippet tool where people will have all of their favorite kind of prompts that have been very successful for them. Do you have the same thing? Do you have like a bit of a scrapbook, or and then sort of repeat it, or do you find that it sort of comes fairly organically anyway?
No, I don't have anything like, just I've been, as I said, I've been using it and testing it, but I don't have nothing like, like that yet. Actually, I was thinking of creating something, to be honest.
No, I think that's a great example. So that's a good example, and you could use this for LinkedIn and a variety of other kind of posts. I'm going to go on to your second prompt, and then we can kind of talk it through, also in the interest of time. So the second post was about coming, and we were actually having this almost exact sort of experience in a way. It was about creating a hook. Like in our case, we were coming up with a title for today's podcast. But you kind of what you said, you get this writer's block, and this is where ChatGPT can be a really great collaborator. What's the prompt that you've got here for us? This is about writing hooks.
This is about writing, so this one I put, write 5 compelling hooks of a maximum of 30 characters to promote a course for IELTS starting on 14th February, run by experienced teachers. So I wanted to avoid the native speaker teacher thing. And I just prompted to see if it wasn't very creative from that perspective, I have to say. But and the reason why I put 5, because I wanted to use the same post with different hooks and see how it worked. But I mean, and it was good to to.
And often it's more, and kind of what we found as well, there's a piece of it that's great, and you kind of add it to whatever you have. Just to kind of clarify, why did we come up with the 5 proven GPT prompts for social media? That was kind of a hybrid of us coming up with something and what ChatGPT kind of provided for us. And I feel like it's really good like that. Anytime you have that kind of dithering where you're kind of like twiddling your thumbs, like, I just can't figure this out. Using ChatGPT as an instant feedback tool, I think, is a really helpful tool.
You still need your your critical thinking skills
Yeah.
very active,
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a great tool for brainstorming and ideation.
Yeah. One of the great things about it is quite clever. I do it a lot, but you start with the 5 and then you go, in this case, it could be like, I like 3, do another 5. And then we'll just do another 5 based on whichever one you thought was good. And you just keep on going until maybe you hit something that you really like.
Exactly.
And I found that to be a really helpful way of, because you can, ChatGPT will never get tired.
Yeah, true.
We won't get annoyed at you.
Yeah.
Or complain about working extra hours or anything.
Yeah. That's where it can be really handy. So that's our second one, was creating hooks. And I actually, one question I have for you, Gina, do you find it's helpful to start off with the limitation first? Or do you just go, hey, write the hook, and then maybe after they've kind of created some, you kind of then start adding some limitations, like limiting word count or that kind of thing? Have you thought about that yet?
Not for the hooks, but for the copy. Yeah, because like sometimes I find it's too long or too short. So
yeah, okay.
I try to guide it a little bit. I try to guide it a little bit, but even the hooks, you can say more about them, like the number of characters, or if you want a question, if you want to start with a joke or something that is thought-provoking,
Excellent.
I think that, as I said, the more details you give to it, the better results.
Definitely. The third one is about topic areas. Is when you've thought of, and maybe you can kind of tell us this prompt and then tell us what the kind of context for it and what you'd be wanting to do this in the social media context.
So this is okay. So this came out because of a course I'm running for small business owners, and they were working on their content pillars. Okay, and and then they got blocked. And so I said, okay, so the topics, so I said, generate 5 topic areas about the fear of speaking in English for a content plan. So we had the main pillar, but then they wanted to have kind of subcategories, let's say.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that's
Excellent.
how it came out.
Yeah, and I think you can put 10, you can put, I mean, 5 is a good number.
Yeah.
I usually find kind of what you've done here, start with 5, see the one you like, and then ask for another 5, rather than, you can get quite easily overwhelmed by how many.
Yeah, at some point your brain starts fuming. Yeah. But I mean, 5 is a good number. Unless you're doing something different, which is like in my case, for example, if I had to share a list of something, of hooks or whatever, then you probably put 10.
Yeah.
But when you have, like, for a language school, I think they will never need that many.
Agreed.
For one series of posts. So
And your fourth prompt, tell us about, this was actually relating to Instagram.
Yeah, this was about this is okay. This is not an ideal prompt, because you see it's a bit generic. The only thing that it has is catchy okay, it says it's Instagram, so it already knows what type of platform we're talking about. It's post about a summer course for children. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's got a lot of information, but perhaps it can be refined even more. Are you trying it now?
I'm just trying this for us, and I think
it's even using emojis.
Yeah, it is.
The catchy bit. That's the catchy bit. That's cool.
Yeah, and again, you're probably it's more about finding the initial themes and then and refining it. I think the real central theme I have around ChatGPT is this is like learning any of the other tools, like Excel, Photoshop. All of these tools actually take quite a long time to master. Yeah. And the more you do them, the better you get at them. So I think it's something I would encourage anybody to do, is just start playing around as soon as possible, because you really do get much better. But yeah, you might then just pick the one that you like, and then and kind of ask for more. Or and when you're doing captions, actually it kind of makes sense. Like captions, nobody wants to spend time writing captions, and in fact, it's usually not the most important thing anyway. So I think a great example of like time well spent, probably.
Yeah.
We're going to go on to your last prompt and then maybe spend a bit of time just talking more generally about what you've been working through. So let's do that now. I'm going to bring one up here. So tell us this.
Yeah, act as a social media manager and write an educational Instagram post about top 3 mistakes to avoid when creating content for our school social media. Indicate the possible solutions for each one. Yeah, I tested this one and I was blown away by the details.
Really?
Yes.
Let's
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah.
So it's quite specific. I mean, you took your time. I especially liked how you told it to act as a social media manager.
Yeah.
And that last sentence also, I guess, prompts it to be a bit more creative, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you act as is a very important part
There
of
you go.
prompting.
You see, it has the mistake and the solution. So
But I think using act as at the front of almost all of your prompts is quite important. I don't know if you need to do it more than once in the same chat, Herbert, do you think? I think once the chat is kind of, does it remember the chats before? I think so.
yes, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So in that case, yeah, you just, it's very important to put it at the start, like, hey, providing context, this is who you are in this particular chat.
Yeah, it remembers. I remember.
And I think you've also, you've given it, what's the context? It's got to be an Instagram post. Probably by knowing it's Instagram, it will probably have kind of a different tone compared to, say, a LinkedIn post.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even the emojis that it's kind of used kind of almost suggest that this is this is an Instagram.
A more easygoing.
Yeah.
Kind of more, how can we put, informal, let's say.
Yeah. Casual.
Yeah.
But
I really liked what I liked about this one was how it also the layout of the post.
The structure.
I didn't expect it to be like that. I'm just gonna have a quick look at what it says now. Yeah.
Yeah. They're good points.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's true. I mean, what can we say? There are good points. I mean,
I usually find when I actually read it, I'm like, yeah, no, that's got to change. But that's a good thing, right? Like the human still is very much involved, but just it really, for me, it stops a lot of the kind of looking into the depths of space, trying to figure out an idea. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Let's go back before we finish today. We've kind of gone through some use cases and how to write some effective prompts. Is there anything else, Herbert, as well, particularly with your kind of experience in paid advertising, and anything else you would suggest from your own experience that could also transition into the social media space?
Absolutely. I mean, ChatGPT is fantastic and has really laid the ground for other AI tools, specifically for copywriting, for newsletters, emails, captions, posts. There are some other tools that are quite good and are more configured and use kind of proven copywriting formats. So check out copy.ai and jasper.ai, which are more sophisticated, at least when it comes to copywriting.
Excellent. And I think probably they already have, first of all, I'm imagining the data that they're trained on is very marketing specific. Exactly. So even the fact you might not even need to say, act as a marketing person, because it's like assuming
because you're already
is going to be the case. Yeah. I think it's an important point though as well. Like ChatGPT it really popularized AI and really put it to the moon, but it's not the only tool. And in fact, if you're going to spend your dollars, you may, if you're going to only use it for marketing copy, maybe spending that money on a marketing specific product might be better than, say, a more general one. Why don't we finish on the, it's all very well the writing aspect. You've kind of also, part of social media is visual. The visual assets, in fact, is possibly the most important thing.
Very much, yeah.
So what's been your experience using AI so far for that image generation, or is it curation? Tell me about your experience.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's, as you said, it's creative. So the creative part, photos and videos are essential, okay, as you know. For instance, what I find with when I work with language schools is that sometimes they forget, because obviously the ones that work the best are the real ones, so not stock images or anything like that. But sometimes they forget, or they don't think about the angles, the lights, and you don't get the right material. So I thought, well, I'm gonna try and see if I can solve this using AI generated pictures and videos. Okay, so I mean, for photos and for pictures, I wasn't that pleased, because especially when you ask it to integrate people, okay, faces, and they're a bit distorted, so it's even unpleasant. So I think there's a good attempt, but they're not there yet. Or perhaps because everything that I tried in terms of picture generation was for free. So maybe there are paid tools that get better pictures. But then, yeah, and then when you have things like a bit surreal, let's say, if you put like, I did a picture of a cyberborg studying, and also I did another one like a robot support helping a child, and exactly things like that. It's fine, okay, but yeah, I haven't really. I've seen some amazing videos on ChatGPT website of images I have produced, but probably in the same way that you have to be super detail, and for the written part, you have to have that also for the
images,
for the images, Then I tried with video, and this is where I was really blown away. Just like,
oh, really? Okay, tell me about that.
Yeah, well, because there's especially a platform that I found out. They create your avatar, and they clone your voice. So basically, once that is ready, it transforms your blog, whatever piece of text, into a video, and so you come up talking or presenting there with your own voice. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, because obviously, as we know in social media marketing nowadays, video is what gets you the biggest visibility. But again, this is where people struggle the most to produce, for various reasons, maybe because they are camera shy or whatever, or maybe don't have basic, because you don't need like super professional video skills, but even that. Okay, so for various reasons, it's you get less of that material, but you need it. So I thought, let's try that. So this is a platform called Synthesia or something like that.
Yeah, it's one of the
I've
most
heard of
popular ones. Yeah.
I think what you can get from it is amazing, and it has been created for, especially with corporate in mind, and for internal training, and also it's a bit expensive, understandably. So I don't know. Maybe not something that language schools could afford. Maybe now, I don't know. It depends on the language school, of course, but who knows? But still, I was thinking, generally speaking, for social media, I wouldn't use it, because
isn't it sort of like just like stock? There's something that people sniff. I kind of feel like
because
it's
you
the
can
same
tell
thing.
that it's me, but it's not me. It's like,
oh, of course it's not.
the
and I do
movement
find like the mouth, like just like you can see something. There's just something fishy about it. And then that's all you focus on, right? Is like, why is the mouth not quite working? One thing I did hear though is that there's a huge difference between the automation and then automation plus editing. So those that can have the skills to do the automation, which can take minutes, but then spend the time they're kind of like very specialist kind of like editing aspects. You can really improve how the mouth forms and those sorts of things. And then the edited versions can look outstanding, but it kind of creates that kind of extra sort of just like maybe just exactly like what we're talking about with ChatGPT, like it's fine what comes out, but it's not enough. And then it's that extra layer on top to really get it to a realistic level.
True. Yeah. So I think that for videos and photos, I think I would use stock videos if I didn't have anything.
Rather than
exactly on the avatar with it. It's called deep fake, right? So
yes.
So rather than the deep fake, I think it's not there yet. No.
Yeah, it's I certainly found that the images I'll display it if you are watching this on our YouTube channel, on the LearnCube channel. You'll sort of see some of the images that I've created using ChatGPT or various others. And I found that the sort of pixel versions were actually like pretty good, but like the art and sometimes the really artistic kind of versions were quite good.
Yeah.
But the middle stuff was, it's just pretty, and it's not. Remember, this is free and it's automated, so I can't be too harsh. But the initial experience is pretty poor. One thing I would say though is it's only going to get better. So
yeah, that's the thing.
Regardless of when you're listening to this,
I think that for a very basic version that is in development, it's, if you look at it from that perspective, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have to wait until the real thing comes out, and it's not going to be for free for sure.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
No.
Yeah. But either way, one thing I did think was useful about it was that you could probably test kind of how you want something to look using it. So you could be like, I kind of know I need to create like an image like this, and then you kind of get the automation to do the kind of the initial go, and then maybe you find that as either a stock fit, or you actually get your school to do that particular layout of the image, or I'm not too sure. I'm just wondering if you can use it as almost a brainstorming tool of what you might like, but it's quite hard to get what you want exactly without having the exact.
And I was thinking, I was thinking that it could be nice to use it when you want to create I don't know what you would call it, hyper realistic or surreal, whatever kind of image that someone that looks at it, on the feed go, and stops. Okay. And it would be nice to have like a mixture of the real thing. If you could someone from a photo and paste it there. Kind of, but I haven't found that yet, so I don't know. But apart from that, no.
I'm going to agree with you, Gina. I'm sort of I'll wait a little bit longer for that technology for me to rely on that. I think we're still stuck in a good way with authentic images and authentic videos.
Yes, that's, I think the key learning from that. I hope any language schools listening here is please still focus on authentic photo and video.
Exactly. Because that's if you want to bring that student closer to you and to really like
trust,
you, to get to know you and all that, they have to see the real you, the real school. A video with a deep fake with no background. Actually, I think it would cause the opposite effect. Like,
exactly.
It's like when when you see photos of hotels on TripAdvisor, that there is a glass with some water and a flower. When I see that, they're not showing me the room. And it's exactly the same thing. So I wouldn't trust it too much. So I think you have to invest in real video, and it's so easy. I mean, with a few basic skills, you can get good material.
Well, Gina, this seems like a good place to finish on. Somebody authentic and very good at helping people with their social media content. You actually have a blog that you're going to be releasing on your website. What's your website again?
Yeah, it is GR, that's my initial, schoolmarketing.com.
Fantastic. schoolmarketing.com. Amazing. So definitely go and check that out. And I think you'll find a lot of other really helpful resources from Gina. But definitely, Gina, from us, thank you so much. Herbert, where can people find you?
They can find us at our website, learnmedia.com.
And likewise here, you can find more about LearnCube's virtual classroom online school at learncubecube.com. But until we see you next time, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you here next time. Thanks again.
Catch you later.
Thank you.
Great. I don't think there's anything else to record. I'm kind of, unless Gina, is there anything else that you thought we didn't quite get right, or?
I think it went really nicely, and yeah, I think we've covered a lot. Yeah.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Okay.